The astral body of the one who uses swear words decays. If a child insults their mother and if they use profanity, God forbid, this child deserves punishment, a serious punishment. You did something in the past, but now you think that it was a mistake. You begin to meditate, immersing in yourself. You relive the event and reprogram it for the positive. In the heart, you say that you have realized your mistake, accepted everything, and won't ever do it again. Everyone knows where they are mistaken. Sometimes people begin to lie to themselves, but by and large, they know that they are wrong.
Good afternoon, Imram. Today we would like to discuss the following topics: use of profanity in speech, ways to improve eyesight and memory, the best time for practicing how mantras work, what is repentance. Here is the first question. What's your attitude toward swear words? Negative. They destroy the human aura. Earlier, these were good words, but they were attributed bad qualities. The astral body of the one who uses swear words decays. When they use such words constantly, at work, when smoking, when talking to others, more than half of the vocabulary of many people are swear words because they can't express their thoughts otherwise. These words help communicate their ideas to their friends. When a builder talks to a builder, they mostly use words like brick or grout. The rest of the words are profanity. They make everything clear. May one use profanity to enhance a joke? What kind of a joke is that if it doesn't work without profanity? It may seem funnier for people because it's their level of consciousness. Such words sound very common, normal, and socially acceptable to them. But this is a sign of regression. If you want to tell a joke, if you want to deliver a joke and people don't perceive it without profanity, run away from these people. They are not to rub elbows with. Seek company of people with positive vibes, because your auras mix together. People that you meet unconsciously affect you and leave stereotypical imprints on your mentality. And if you want to connect with successful people to become successful too, this is a good idea. If you want to be a saint, you need to connect with saints. Do you want to be successful and saintly? Practice yoga. What if swear words are used to praise someone? It's weird. In any case, the word itself carries a destructive power even when used as a praise. Because behind every swear word there is a demon. When you use such words, you summon a demon and endow people you talk to with these demonic qualities. These words have become a cliché. Earlier, they were good words. There are also words that are not profane, that are in fact very good, but people began to use them as an insult. Sometimes it's also the case. For example, a holy fool. Who is a holy fool? This is a person without consciousness, not of this world. A blessed one. Earlier, they were considered saints because they are unwitting. They were not really saints. But people treated them in a special way because it was believed that they are the instruments of God. Such people could come up to someone and hit them on the head with a hammer, laugh at them, jump around, and go unpunished. Because the other one was to be punished. It was believed to be their karma. And now such words are used as an insult. A God's fool, people say. Or awliya for a Muslim. An awliya is a saint.
When I lived in Dagestan, people used to say, he is an awliya, a madman. You see, they don't even think about it. This is an Arabic word. Demons also need some sort of weapon to balance the scales. Everyone chooses what they think fit. If one wants to use swear words and they realize that this is wrong, take any foul-mouthed man. When at home, do they also use these words? Is it their native language? Excluding situations when they are angry. Young people don't talk like that to their parents, except for some situations. But it's beyond the pale, whatever the situation.
What to do if a child uses bad words?
If a child insults their mother and if they use profanity, God forbid, this child deserves punishment. A serious punishment. If they threaten their mother this way now, where will they be in 5 to 10 years? First of all, they show their disrespect to God, to society. If they don't respect their mother, they won't love God. This in itself is demonic influence. How to discipline the child? Completely ignore them, at the very least, until they realize their mistake. Ignore them completely. They stepped out of line after all. They have offended you. You simply pay no attention to them. You keep loving them within, but stop talking to them. For children, this is a rather serious punishment. It deprives them of an opportunity to ask you about something or talk to you. You serve them soup and leave, and that's that. On the outside, they don't exist for you. And it's a problem for them because they lack attention. Children always require attention, and you ignore them. Nothing else. But before you punish them, make eye contact with them. Tell that you are unhappy about how they have behaved. That from that moment on, they are punished for this and that, and that you won't talk to them until they realize what's wrong. When will I realize that, they may ask. Time will tell, nothing else. If you backpedal, they will manipulate you. They will do it again, because they know that in half an hour you will offer them candies, chocolates, and whatnot.
What to do if a child has a sun allergy?
Avoid direct sunlight for the time being. Sun exposure is allowed until 10 a.m. and after 4 p.m., but don't keep them in the shade forever. They can stay in the sun until 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. at the latest when the sunlight is soft, and in the evening, but coming into direct contact. Do children outgrow their allergy? It will disappear. Allergies are related to hormones and liver problems. Most likely the liver requires attention. Sometimes allergies are caused by buildup of toxins that the liver is not able to cope with. Any skin problem is linked to liver failure, however you slice it. Plus parasites. Test for parasites. Take preventive measures.
Is it enough to perform 42 Kriyas to improve eyesight?
Yes, they can help. They normatonically create conditions for the facial muscles to relax. But I advise you to do only certain exercises. Do you know them? Do you know eye exercises? You can find them on the internet. For example, methods offered by Zdanov. Watch. He explains everything. Who? Zdanov is his surname. An academician from Novosibirsk's Akademgorodok. He has his own laboratories. He borrowed these techniques from yoga. He shows them. Yes, you can improve your eyesight.
Zdanov offered yoga exercises for eyes, gazing at a candle flame.
Concentration? Trataka? You don't need it. A serious science is available to you. There's no use doing that. Gazing at a candle flame is good for beginners. In this way, they develop concentration. To improve your eyesight, do eye exercises instead of candle gazing. It's more effective.
What do we need to do to improve memory?
To improve your memory, you need to throw away everything you don't need, to free up space.
It's linked to the volume of information.
I understand. You should develop this function. Read texts, learn poems by heart, for example. Work with your memory. An ordinary person doesn't memorize things because they have a lot of information in their head. They skim through a text while thinking about other things. They're not focused on what they are doing. And they don't memorize. They don't have related images because their mind is wandering, filled with other images. Without images, it's difficult to memorize information. Be present in what you are doing. When you read, you perceive an image conveyed by the text, and it's captured by your mind. Visual memory works here. Your visual memory must be better than the auditory memory, right? You perceive an image and remember it. Work with your head. There is another option. Don't try to memorize anything. Just practice to be able to answer any question and provide any kind of information when asked without thinking about it, but it will take time. But otherwise, you should work with your head.
What's the best time for practicing Kriya?
The best time is from 4 a.m. till 8 a.m. and from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. This is considered Sattvic time. At these hours, the world is calm, more or less. We practiced from 4 till 6, within this interval. In the morning, it's more effective. If you have no opportunity to practice within these intervals, do it whenever you can. Because God is beyond time. You talk to Him and practice whenever you have time. If you have half an hour, practice during this half an hour. For example, you have some time after meals. You have an unsettled debt and want to practice. Sit down and practice for 5 to 10 minutes at any time. It's good to fill your entire day with practice. If you practice in the morning and in the evening twice a day, it doesn't mean that for the rest of the day you don't need to practice. We talk about 24/7 practice. What does that mean? It means that we fulfill our duties in the morning and in the evening, but we remain fully self-aware throughout the day. For example, if someone distracts you or you go somewhere, go and be distracted through the divine cave. It will be enough to connect with the outer world. When you have an opportunity, for example, when someone is giving you a ride, you sit in the car with your spine more or less straight and don't do anything. Immerse yourself in the divine cave. The driver asks you, "Do you feel sick?" and you reply, "No, I'm quite all right." You have 10 to 15 minutes while in the passenger seat. It doesn't matter if you were caught in a traffic jam or whatnot. You don't waste your life. You practice. When at work, do you know the best way to talk to your boss? Dive in there immediately. Roll the tongue back to the divine cave, and you won't say what shouldn't be said.
When I focus on the divine cave, everything goes slowly. Is it so only at the initial stage?
At the beginning, yes. Is it particular to the initial stage and later things will go faster and faster? Yes, yes. You'll get used to it. At the beginning, you walk slowly in the 31st Kriya, then faster and faster. You don't need to go at a snail's pace. This happens by itself. This is because you try to feel everything. It's slow because it's difficult for your mind. Over time, you'll get used to doing it fast. Slow gives way to fast. There is such a phrase. This is why it's slow at first. Become invested in it. If you want to understand a pattern, even wushu masters teach their disciples to do everything slowly. All their motions are very slow. They should feel their arms and how they are positioned relative to the body, where the focus is, where their energy center is. They rotate their body, move their shoulder or arm forward, raise their elbow. They do it slowly at the beginning, but later their movements become quick.
May I perform the advanced techniques if I didn't attend the seminar?
You can perform all techniques, but the advanced techniques are more difficult and require special attention. Plus, at the seminars, we work with these aspects very closely. The most important thing is that at the seminars, we have a scheme of the divine cave, without which any advance would be challenging. Plus, I initiate the disciples in Kriya. This is why it's very desirable to attend.
Do I need to recite a Mahamantra 500,000 times for it to start working?
Yes, 250 to 300,000 times and more. Thus you accumulate vibrations. When you recite, all this is stored in the space within your being, in the spiritual space. Gradually it starts to vibrate. When you rub two sticks against each other, you can start a fire. Here you just need to create.
When you recite a mantra many times but do not seek any changes, does it necessarily mean that it doesn't work?
Changes do happen. Even if you recite a mantra only once, something will change, something that you won't notice. The space immediately begins to vibrate. By the way, the bodily response will be noticeable. Sometimes when you recite a mantra, you have an idea. At the beginning, this mantra or these vibrations solve general problems. Another example. You begin to practice Kriya saying, I want to improve kidney function. I have been practicing the 42 Kriyas for a month, 2, 3 already, but my kidneys don't work any better. Or another health problem doesn't go away. It's because you accumulate energy within yourself. First of all, this energy will be used to solve the most important issues related to your brain, blood, etc. Sometime later, after these systems have improved and function more or less fine, the energy will move to the periphery. So it solves the existential problems in the first place and then all the rest. If you practice the 42 Kriyas to improve your eyesight and feel unhappy because you see no results right away, you should know that your energy will, first of all, cure your heart and brain, then the vital organs, liver, kidney, and others. And only when these are all right, the energy will move further to your eyes. Everything in its turn. For a mantra to work, it should be recited a certain amount of times. There is one more detail. Sometimes, if you recite it only once, but with all your heart, you could see an immediate effect. Sometimes it comes as an unexpectedly pleasant surprise.
If one practices 42 Kriyas, can negative outcomes be cancelled for them?
Yes. And it's not just about the 42 Kriyas. It's about being in the state of prayer and Kriya itself. You practice sadhana to solve this issue. You turn to God to mitigate the consequences, to avoid trouble. Acceptance? Yes, as long as it's not hard for you. Why not? If you realize that your time for karmic retribution has come, understand the reasons for it, and your heart accepts everything, there is no point in punishing you, because you have repented, you have accepted it. But nonetheless, you will have to go through it. In other words, you have realized that you made a mistake, but you will have to resolve it anyway, because the machine has been started. But it will be much easier for you. Yes, the process is started, but it is not so aggressive as it would be if you hadn't repented. It won't be so tough on you. Subtle spiritual powers will also come into play. Just a simple example. Shakti, the spouse of Shiva, punished her devotees by leaving them. She hid herself from them as well as from her children, despite her boundless love for them, because they had acted wrongly. They began to look for her. They searched and searched. They found her. She appeared before them. They said, "We understood and realized everything. We accept everything. Please come back to us. Please don't deprive us of your grace." And she replied, "What I am doing for you now is grace. You've committed actions that triggered consequences. Here they are. They had made a mess. They went on, but we have realized everything. We have repented. We have gained understanding." She said, "Yes, you have gained understanding, but you must gain experience as well." That's all.
How to repent?
Repentance is when you move on consciously, not following religious dogmas, but through the perception of the true nature of events or through absolute sincerity towards yourself. Everyone knows where they are mistaken. Sometimes people begin to lie to themselves, but by and large they know that they are wrong. Excluding situations when people know that they are wrong, but is forced to act that way. This also happens. Although one could not have done it anyway. There is always a choice. But if you have already committed something, you have set this machine in motion. You did something in the past, but now you think that it was a mistake. How to settle this? You begin to meditate, immersing in yourself and turning to the sublime from within. You relive the event and reprogram it for the positive, to calm your subconscious and your mind. In the heart, you say that you've realized your mistake, accepted everything, and won't ever do it again. I understand. Your conscience starts to vibrate. Females may cry over it a little, thereby releasing this information component through tears. By the way, if you ladies feel like crying, do it. Don't keep it all bottled up. Don't suppress your emotions. It's unhealthy to suppress any emotion. You can transform them, but don't suppress. Otherwise, they will build up to cause diseases. Practitioners usually don't go to extremes because our practice helps find the right balance. Repentance is a magic tool that allows the penetrating power of the mind to perceive situations and events. When you live through this, you completely accept this event as if it has already happened and consciously perceive it. You realize where you slipped up and how things unfolded. It's important to discover the cause and effect relationship behind it. And the matter is settled. Do you remember the story when Yogananda was invited to a church, a Protestant church or something, and there were 1,000 people there? The pastor appeared and ordered, "Get on your knees, sinners." And all of them knelt down, except Yogananda. He stands there and can't understand what's going on. All eyes were on him. "On your knees, but I'm not a sinner." He has a completely different view of this. This body cannot be sinful. It's pure and sinless. Your body is pure and sinless. Sinful is the mind. If you rid your body from your mind, you will become a blessed, sinless, holy fool. And that's it. He feels good, and everybody feels good. This is why saints often look like holy fools. They behave like children. Sometimes it's completely unclear who they are. Once, long time ago, we visited a master. His behavior was very weird. I realized that he is in a perpetual state of samadhi. It doesn't matter for him who is around. There were businessmen, know-it-all guys, who looked at him with prejudice, saying, "What on earth is this? Is it him?" I respond, "Yes, it's him." Sometime later, they also relaxed, started to sing, full of energy. I say, "Now look at yourselves, business guys. Aren't you ashamed to go that low?" They go, "No, now you won't get us. We've realized what it is." In 2005, I was invited to give a seminar in Moscow. All the attendees were bankers. Everyone sits on a chair. The seminar is about to begin. The chairs were made of leather and looked more like armchairs. I tell them, "Sit down on the floor." They say, "What do you mean on the floor?" "Sit down here on the floor." And I sit down on the floor. They say, "On the floor? How is that?" This is somewhat... I repeat, "On the floor. Do you want to practice?" They respond, "Yes." "Sit down on the floor then. What are you afraid of?" There were two brothers from Azerbaijan, very serious guys. I suppose they had never sat on the floor in their life. I saw that they felt very uncomfortable sitting on the floor. One of them was a deputy head of a police department in Moscow. The other worked at a bank at a very serious department, kind of back room. Very serious guys. They are sitting there. I see they feel uncomfortable and even ashamed of sitting on the floor and doing something. After 15 minutes of energization in a sitting posture, they completely forgot that they were on the floor and had been ashamed. At this moment, Sai Baba appears on the subtle plane. He comes up to them and smiles, even laughs at them. They struggle as they try to do the exercises. Their legs go numb. Baba stands there. He is not very tall. And here he slaps him in the face from the subtle plane. The man flinches. He doesn't understand what's going on, looks from left to right and back again, becomes oblivious. It was a funny spectacle, but I felt happy for them. I knew that it was more than just a slap. It was a blessing from the universe. He passed by and disappeared. Then this man comes up to me, his face flushing. After that slap, tears ran down his cheeks. His face flushed, and he couldn't go on practicing. He was in such a blessed state. He couldn't understand what was going on. After 1.5 to 2 hours, we had our first break. He crawls to me asking, "Imram, who was that fellow?" I say, "The one wearing long red garments?" "Yes, long red garments." I ask, "What didn't you like about him?" "He slapped me," he replies, "in the face. And as he walked by, the garments touched that man's hands." I say, "Rejoice." He can't understand anything. "Why did he appear before me?" he asks. "He's not a seer or anything, and here he saw him." I respond, "Sweeping changes are expected for you. Big adventures, Pinocchio." A year later, their team went to Puttaparthi. They had never thought about going to India. They used to go to Thailand, live in 7-star hotels, or they would go to Bali or to Europe. India, Puttaparthi, sitting on the floor in an ashram. What do you think happened? I knew one of them. He practiced in my group. He was from Dagestan, but later he moved to Moscow. They invited me. I went to Puttaparthi with the group. They say, "We'll be there too." I say, "Okay." And what did they do? They didn't go to Puttaparthi, but to Goa. To spend there a week or two. He calls me, "We'll relax in Goa first, and then we'll go to Puttaparthi." I say, "Kamal, go back quickly." "You plan to go to Puttaparthi?" "Yes." "You made up your mind, right?" "Yes." "You can't do otherwise. First you should come here, and then you'll see what to do next." He replies, "We'll spend here a few more days." And he breaks his arm there. It was a severe fracture. Already he began to repay his karmic debts. And he knows why he broke his arm. He messed about in his time. Sometime later, they come to that place. His arm is in a plaster cast. He's all dressed up in white. For the first time. He asks, "What do you wear here?" I say, "Go to the nearest shop and buy only white clothes." The other guys did the same. These two bankers enter the hall. There are thousands of people. They sit at the back of the hall, unaware of what's going on. Baba is very far from them. He looks more like an orange dot because thousands of people are there in between. Up to 10,000 people both on the men's and on the women's sides. So they sit at the back of the hall, and this guy Kamal, who broke an arm, went to the shop. It took him time to change his clothes, to preen himself, to choose perfume, who knows where they ended up, and he was late for darshan. He can't find the entrance. No one shows him the way. He tries to enter through the first gates that is for VIP only. Well, it's impossible to get in through those gates. He comes up to the VIP gates, and the guards let him in. He comes in, sits down on the veranda, where only the closest ones are allowed to be. I do a thumbs-up gesture. "Well done," I say. I was sitting very close and saw him. And he asks, I say, "Sit there." Here Baba appears. Everyone is in samadhi. Baba passes by, looks at him and smiles. He is sitting there with his broken arm. Baba blessed him, moved further, entered an interview room, took people. There were guests from America, very high officials, vice presidents. Kamal sits there. We have a 40, 50, 60-minute break during Sai Baba's interview. I come up to those guys. They ask, what is he doing there? How on earth did he get there? Kamal stands up. It's wrong to stand up there. But he stands up and calls out across the hall, over here! All are puzzled. People came there from all over the world, serious people. They are sitting on the floor, all are equal. And he calls out, over here, across the entire hall. It measures 150, 200 meters or more. They look at me. I say, go. They stand up, leave the hall through the back door, enter it through the VIP gates. The guards also let them in. And they sit down there on the veranda. Here Baba appears and blesses them too. It was one of Swami's jokes. He has many interesting jokes. But he wrung them dry later. Their life turned upside down. He blessed them and gave them a burden to make them work, to make them understand.